Welcome back. We now continue our Thanksgiving focus on the hungry and those who help them with a different sort of look at food pantries across our region, the view from the inside. So, how has the face of hunger changed and what kind of help do our helpers need today? And for answers, I sat down with Ellen Lynch from the Food Bank for Westchester, Paul Pachter from Long Island Cares, and also the Harry Chapin Food Bank, as well as Carlos Rodriguez from the Food Bank of Monmouth and Ocean Counties in New Jersey. Give an idea as to, before who the population is, just how much bigger the population has become since you guys have gone into it, and you can start from a Westchester perspective. Where were we with people that were food insecure 10, 15 years ago versus now?
So there's been, aside from not just Westchester, but everybody, I think it affects both of my colleagues here, there's been a dramatic increase in suburban hunger and suburban poverty over the last 15 years, so since the turn of the century. And so there's just been a dramatic increase, something like 64% in the suburbs compared to 23 or 28% in the urban areas. And so that sort of shift into suburban areas that are not used to historically handling those kinds of numbers is challenging. And then, of course, I think everybody across the board, urban and suburban, experienced a big change and a dramatic increase from 08 to 10, and then in Westchester, again, from 10 to 11. So in our case, it was a 35% increase in calls for service in that 8 to 10 period, and then another 15 on top of that from 10 to 11. So it's a pretty dramatic number, and I think the other thing that we all have in common is high cost of living in general.
I mean, the story of the families that are in need now, these are the neighbors that in fact used to support food drives and help local organizations and food banks help solve the problem of hunger. And now the tables have turned, as Ellen mentioned, because of the recession first in 2008. In our two counties, in Monmouth and Ocean in New Jersey, Sandy added another blow to the economy. And if you were barely making ends meet, you quickly went from being a provider to being a recipient of the resources that food banks are providing.
You know, Paul, and I'm sure you found this on the island, some of the same stories they are, but I've heard from so many people that it just takes one little thing to go wrong. Somebody who's living paycheck to paycheck, their car breaks down. The spouse goes from full-time to part-time. Somebody gets sick, and then it can all unravel. And the thing where they were just getting by, all of a sudden they can't get by, and they need Long Island Cares or organizations that we'll find throughout our region here to help make up that gap. But I'm sure for folks who are coming here for the first time, it must be traumatic for them.
Well, it's extremely traumatic for people that have never experienced food insecurity or need. To have to turn to a local pantry or a food bank for some assistance. You know, if you look at Long Island, which is, you know, considered to be a pretty affluent region of the state, the federal poverty level is about $22,000 for a family of four. There's not an individual that's earning $22,000 a year that could make it on Long Island. So as we look at people in need in Nassau and Suffolk County, you're looking at people who may be earning $45,000 to $75,000 a year and finding themselves looking for some support from the local, you know, charities that exist. It's interesting from a statistical standpoint, as my colleagues discussed, when Harry Chapin founded our organization 36 years ago, there were approximately 50,000 people on Long Island that were considered to be in need. Today, 36 years later, 316,000 people. So, and this is all across the country. It's not just Long Island and Westchester and New Jersey. You know, we're looking at, you know, more than 50 million people in America.
And Carlos, there's some misperceptions out there that maybe we could at the table address. One is, they got plenty of food, you know, between working with the feds and all the restaurants giving them and all the charitable folks out there. They got more than enough to meet the need. That's just not the case, right?
It's not the case. And if you visit any one of our facilities, you see the magnitude of what we have to fill in terms of racks and spacing and distribute to actually meet the need. 300,000 in Long Island, 131,000, 10% of the population in the two counties that the Food Bank of Monmouth and Ocean County serves. And when you walk into this facility, one of the first things that I mention on a tour and as I'm describing the problem is if we were to stop receiving food today, we'd be empty in less than 5 weeks.
Wow.
So the population in suburbia is changing dramatically. And the role of the food banks are changing dramatically. As she said, historically, when food banks were established, we were there to address the need for emergency food. It was a temporary fix, hopefully to get families and individuals back on their feet. But if you look at the networks that we support, all three of us, the local pantries, the soup kitchens, the supported housing programs, these are operations that, for the most part, are very small. They're not open full-time. Very few of them have paid staff. And so gaps continue to exist, not only for the amount of food, the type of food, and a broad a range of products. And we're finding ourselves in the business of not only distributing food, but personal care products, household supplies, in our case, pet food.
To that end, and I'll start with you, Carlos, you got a captive audience at home here, and people innately, I think, the vast majority want to help, but maybe they don't know the best way to help. Wave a wand here. What's the thing that you need most?
I think the first thing is, and it's something that you're doing here today, is create awareness, demystify or realign or reimagine what hunger really is. It really is our neighbor. It really is someone who can be you and I tomorrow. So we need more awareness. We need you to spread what you learn and what you hear today to your neighbors, to your friends. And the dollar is something that a food bank can leverage and stretch to multiply into multiple meals. Why? Because we're working through donation streams. We're leveraging purchasing power as a large regional entity. And we're also providing other services to not just feed these lines that are becoming longer in our community, but to help shorten them with other services as well.
If people want to give of their time. And I guess one of the biggest reminders for everybody is it's not just on Thanksgiving. It's not just at the end of the year for the holidays. It's Monday through Sunday. You're never going to turn people away if they want to help because you can use it, right?
Oh, absolutely. There really is no holiday for the food banks. And if people want to donate their time and come to any of our facilities to help sort food, to help repack them, join us at a special event, or even learn more about your local food bank and get out there and tell other people.
Each of the groups represented on our panel stands ready to assist anyone in need. Food Bank for Westchester, they're located on Clearbrook Road in Elmsford, and you can get more information on their website, foodbankforwestchester.org, or by calling at 914-923-1100. And for more information about Long Island Cares and the Harry Chapin Food Bank, please go to licares.org or call 631-582-FOOD. They operate pantries in Hauppauge, Freeport, Lindenhurst, and Huntington Station. And the Food Bank of Monmouth and Ocean Counties can connect you to their network of pantries and kitchens, 73 alone in Monmouth County and 62 in Ocean. So for more information, please head to foodbankmoc.org, or you can call them at 732-918-2600. And of course, there are groups that provide assistance to those in need in every corner of our viewing area. So please just search online for food pantry or kitchen, or call your local municipality or county government, and they will point you in the right direction. Now, whether you're among those in need or looking for a way to help this holiday season, they can certainly use your help and help you out if you need it. Okay, coming up next, everyone, we take a look at some others doing their part to help combat hunger this Thanksgiving, including one that caters to an unlikely group, students. Please stay with us.